Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. This is part 2 of making this Sloth vinyl design. I did not have the colors that I used in Cricut Design Space, so I worked with what I had. I actually did a trial run and my daughter was in love with it, so I'm gonna make this one for her. For this technique, you can see on each of my pieces, I have a little bit of extra paper on the right side, so whenever you cut out your vinyl and your pieces, leave some extra space. You'll need that for when we start piecing it together. You need a piece of transfer tape that's big enough to cover the entire design. With this design, I have pieces that are sticking out and kind of above this larger piece, so just making sure that it all fits. And you'll also need wax paper. Be sure to get Reynolds wax paper. I know some of the store brands or more inexpensive brands just don't work, so Reynolds wax paper. And before you get started, just cover your workspace in a sheet of the wax paper. Anytime you're layering a design, you want to figure out which piece you're going to put on top, and I'm going to put these eyes here and then just kind of stack them. Because my first piece that I'm going to place on my transfer tape are these eyes, I need to figure out where on the transfer tape they're going to lay. So to do that, I'm going to put them on top of the biggest piece where kind of the general area of where they're going to be. Now my transfer tape has lines on it, so this is a little bit easier to get an idea because I'm just going to hover the transfer tape over the top. I don't want it to touch that big piece at the bottom, and just get an idea of where on the tape I'm going to place these eyes. And I'm going to tell you guys right now, I figured out which line that it's going to be on when I did this, but then whenever I come back in a second and I lay it down, I do it a little bit higher. It wasn't something that is going to mess up what I'm doing, but I will end up fixing it in the end. I'll show you once we get there. But I thought I knew where I was placing it. I was on the line right above where I actually should have. But if you can mark it somehow, maybe with a Sharpie, that would probably be the best bet so you don't make that same mistake. But it's fixable, it's all good. To layer these eyes, we are going to put a little piece of wax paper, but we're going to leave this extra space right here. We need that extra piece of paper because once we lay these eyes down, let's just get these on the transfer tape. Okay, and then you can, I'm trying to see if I can get this where you guys can see it. Because of this wax paper, I can move this around. Just move your layers around until you get it exactly where you want it to be. And then once you have the placement right, you're going to use that extra paper on the side to press the transfer tape down on. So push down the transfer tape. You might have to hold the transfer tape in place as well now you can see I can lift up the transfer tape, but my eyes are where I want them to be. So I'm going to now remove this piece of wax paper. And then just slowly apply those on. And now we have these two layers put together. And we're going to continue doing that with each of these layers. So the next layer is going to be the same, but once we get to the cup, we have the words that are going to lay on top of that. So that's whenever it's going to get a little tricky. So let's do this layer, and then I'm going to show you how I get the words on the cup layer. We want the next layer to be the cup, but we also need the words to be on top of the cup. So to do that, I need to cut a little bit of the wax paper off because my extra paper for this layer is kind of in the bottom right corner. So I'm going to cut a little bit of the wax paper away. I'm going to position this layer and I'm going to stick them together where the paper, the transfer tape and the paper attached, but before I remove the wax paper, I'm going to get the letters involved at that point. So let me get this positioned and then we'll come back and we'll put the letters in. I have these two pieces stuck together Now I need to lift up the wax paper without separating where I've stuck them together in that bottom right corner. And I have the Not Today, I have it cut where it's basically going to fit perfectly in here. So I'm going to position this, and I'm not putting wax paper on this because I have it to where I can position it perfectly, or as perfect as possible. And once I get it where I want it, I'm going to lay my transfer tape down on top of that. Now we can take away the wax paper and we can connect these two pieces. And we just have one more, and you can use a squeegee, or press the vinyl down a little bit harder onto the transfer tape. I did not do that on this one. Now we have one more layer to do. We just have to apply it to this last bottom layer. I almost forgot about the Z's. We'll add the Z's. Now, as you can see, I did have a little space up here, and the transfer tape at the bottom is a little bit long. And yes, y'all, I'm using kid scissors. I have about 5 pair of scissors in this house, and I cannot find one of them. I have crafty kids, so they steal my scissors, and now I have to resort to using theirs. But we're going to cut this away. I'm going to use that piece that I just cut away to put it at the top here where I have that little space. And then first I'm going to add the Z's. Alright, and this one is for my daughter, but I did apply the other one that I made to a box, a planter box, that way you guys could get the effect once it's applied to something. I'll be doing more Cricut tutorials. I hope you like these. If you have anything that you would like to see, let me know. Remember to subscribe, hit the like button and the notification bell, and I will see you guys again soon. Bye.